Hello and welcome. Today I'm adding Football Champ from the Taito Arcade Collection 3 to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. It can also be found on the Taito Super Pocket. Anyway, it was originally released in 1990 and is a very arcadey style of football game. It's loud and brash and allows you to do flying knees on your opponents, so yeah, all good fun. Now, I'm sure anyone who watches enough my channel knows I'm not a big fan when it comes to football games or sports games in general, and usually they get a bad review, or at least, a low ranking from me anyway. And Football Champ is one that I had never played before getting an Evercade, so how will it fare?
Graphics.
Yep, they're all pretty good, let's be honest. It's a 1990 game, so I think it looks good for that. The presentation is bright, cheerful, as I mentioned, very over the top and cartoony, even if the sprites are mostly realistic looking. But the various character faces and the ref's face you get have a definite cartoony look. The animation is decent enough, and yeah, everything looks like it should do.
Sound and music.
Sound-wise, it's a mixed bag. The sound of the football itself, well, it's a strange sounding football, I'll give it that. But again, it does the job. It's, there's sounds at the right times to tell you what's going on. It works in that respect. Where the sound is very good is with the voiceovers and the crowd sounds and everything. It all really works well. There was some clear speech samples, although some things are said in a slightly unusual way. I guess it's a language thing. But again, it does really add to the atmosphere. There isn't a huge amount of music in the game, but when there is music, it's suitably arcadey, and yeah, it works absolutely fine. So overall, I think it does pretty well on the audio and visual front. Of course, that's all well and good, but what about the
gameplay?
In many ways, it's a fairly typical arcade football game. The pitch is viewed horizontally. You've got your team, you've got your pass and shoot buttons, and you play football and try and get the ball in the other team's goal. And naturally, you just have a series of matches to get through, and progressively getting more difficult as you go. There's no league tables or anything like that here. It is pure arcade football with added violence. As I mentioned earlier, you can fly knee your opponent or punch them. You'll get fouls and everything. It's not speedball, but it is definitely quite a slapstick violent kind of football. But taking that aside, as a football game, it would be a pretty good arcade football game without the added violence. But I think that adds a bit of charm to it, adds a bit of humour. And despite my general dislike of football and sports games, I've got to admit I have fun with this game. And I can't say that for too many other sports games or football games on the Evercade. The controls are tight, the player switching is pretty good. I mean, it's always been a problem in sports games, I think, or football games, but generally it handles quite well here. Tackling your enemies is easy enough, and it implements pretty much all the rules of football quite well.
Overall opinion.
It is a good arcade football game, probably the best one on the Evercade. Although being an arcade football game, it does mean it's a little bit limited in game modes and things, but yeah, you can still have fun with it. I did, and that genuinely surprised me.
Ranking.
So placing on my overall ranking list, it's definitely the highest ranking football game that I've done so far, which isn't many. I should get on with that, I suppose. But as it's really not the sort of game that I'm into, it will rank lower than people who do enjoy these sorts of games more than I do. So I've elected to put it above Chain Reaction, but below the Combat Tribes, putting it at 179 out of 364 games that I've ranked so far. Which may seem low, but it's pretty damn high for this sort of game from me. Anyway, I think that's enough for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.